low wages and so on and so forth. There must be a monumental shift from that old campaign. Our songs must be different going forward. And so if you look at the policy proposal of Mr. Alantramanti under the GTP, we are looking at 6 key critical areas. We have categorized it into clusters. We have the economic cluster, we have the governance cluster, we have the infrastructure cluster, we have the social services cluster, we have the environment, science and technology, as well as the natural resource cluster. And most importantly, we have the behavioral and mindset change cluster. If you take the economic cluster alone, there are subtitles. For instance, under the economic cluster, we are looking at the macroeconomic environment. And under the macroeconomic environment, we are looking at how to control expenditure. One of the problems that we have today as a country is our inability to control expenditure. We don't cut our clothes according to the size of our cloth. We always expend more than what we are able to mobilize. And if we were even investing in the right areas, that should bring some dividend to the country. But if you go and collect revenue and your expenditure item is going to put that revenue into construction of cathedral, then that is wasteful. That is not what you have been voted for to do. Look, every politician in this country is guided by what is provided in Article 36(1). And with your permission, I'll read it so that the Ghanaian will not take the issue of elections as a joke or a mere formality, but will think twice in deciding who leads the country at any given time. Under Article 36(1), the duty of any president that is in this country or anyone that aspires to be the president of this land is that the state, that is a country called Ghana, shall take all necessary action to ensure that the national economy is managed in such a manner as to maximize the rate of economic development and to secure the maximum welfare, freedom and happiness of every person in Ghana. Emphasis mine, freedom and happiness of every person in Ghana, and to provide adequate means of livelihood and suitable employment and public assistance to the needy. So if you are developing any policy, your focus must be, as a president, how well are you going to achieve what is contained in Article 36(1)? That is ensuring that Ghanaians are happy. Ask yourself whether or not under this current dispensation, of course you cannot have 100% not happy. People in government who are very close to power, they are happy. And most of it, you see them singing government praises. Even when the president himself admits that things are so difficult, he has mismanaged the country. You see the how do you call them? The praise singers, the bootlickers. Yeah. Rather saying all is well. So Alan sees this provision and says to be able to survive as a country, we must control our expenditure. And whilst controlling our expenditure, we must also close all the loopholes in optimizing our revenue generation. And you can only optimize your revenue generation when you have low interest rates and low taxes, because these two ingredients or components propels productivity or production, which will put more people at work, so that the very revenue you want to realize from them, you can amply do it. Then he talks about a stable currency. You can also let the people of this country be happy when your currency is very stable. It doesn't pay that today the currency is 10 cedis. The next time you go to market, it is 15 cedis. How are you going to make up for the shortfall? It will not make the Ghanaian very happy. And again, you deal with the issue of inflation. This is a country that only 2022, our inflation figure shot up to 54.1 or so percent. And we have a government that is praising itself that it has been able to reduce the inflation that itself took to 54.1% to 22 points. What sort of mediocre nonsense is this? When you took over the reins of government in 2017, the inflation figure was 17.5. So you had promised the people of this country that you were coming to better all the indicators that made Ghanaians so mad at the past government. What the Ghanaian was expecting that at worst, your inflation will be lower than 17.5%. As we speak, your inflation is hovering at 22.8%, and this cannot make any Ghanaian happy. Those of us who have been going to market because we are afraid of the sort of bills that our wives will bring, now we are having to even reconsider our position, because when you, the man, go to the market, you are likely to pay more, and the women are better negotiators than us. So when you go and you are hit with the heavy price, you just turn around and then call that, oh, I'm so busy, so can you go and do it? And they go for you. Things are so bad, and so we are looking at dealing with inflation as part of our GDP and having that competitive interest. How is it that as a country we are currently doing an interest rate of 45 to 50%? Who is going to survive with such nonsense? Quick business. And it explains to you why we have so much, the unemployment situation in Ghana is so bad that everyone wants to run. The basis of that is that we have high interest rate that is not allowing the private sector, which is supposed to be the engine of growth, to expand, to absorb more of the youth who are unemployed, to be able to be in gainful employment. And Alan promises to reduce interest rate to, as it were, a single digit. As part of our GTP, we also are dealing with cocoa reforms in the cocoa sector. That, how is it that as a country, every year, if it is not for corruption, kickbacks, chop, that we go into the international market to go and do what we call syndicated loans to come and buy cocoa. We every year go and borrow in excess of $1 billion to come and buy cocoa. Who buys cocoa with dollar in this country? We buy cocoa in this country with cedis. And in fact, during COVID, we were told by the Bank of Ghana that they expended 10 billion cedis to the government of Ghana. What it means is that the Bank of Ghana has the capacity to borrow the Ministry of Finance to be able to purchase cocoa locally, so that we don't have to be mobilizing revenue or resources to go and pay these banks outside the country. Alan is saying that, look, under his tenure, the idea of going for syndicated loans, which is only to give kickbacks to people that matter in the system, will be brought to a halt, and that he will float shares or bonds, or he is going to introduce government bonds to be able to rake in that revenue to buy our cocoa with our city. And then also promising a comprehensive review of the cocoa sector with a view to introducing private sector to partner with cocoa boards so that we can modernize the cocoa sector. And on top of that, increase or improve labor productivity. You cannot grow as a country when your labor, the productivity of your labor force is at all-time low. And it is low because our labor force are not motivated enough. Just convert the average salary of the people in public service or civil service, convert it into dollar, and you see that some are taking $20, $30, $50. How do we expect them to survive on these meager salaries? And that's why a lot of people always say that Ghanaians are magicians. For us to be able to survive under such a turbulent economic disaster. So Alan is professing this, and beyond the macro situation, he's talking about industrial transformation. You understand? There has not been any country in this world that has developed without focusing on industry. And under that, Alan is proposing that we would establish strategic anchor industries, 10 of them, to diversify the economy of this country. Look, he started it as a Minister of Trade and Industry. You have seen the assembly plan, the vehicle assembly or the automotive development policy that he implemented. The idea of that is that every year, Ghana as a country spends more than $1.8 billion on importation of vehicles and its parts into this country. And if you are someone that's so concerned about the depreciation of your city, one of the areas that you must tackle is how to deal with vehicles and its importation and spare parts. So what did he do when he was the Minister of Trade? And what is he intending to do when he becomes the president? Is to reinforce this policy. Now you have vehicle assembly. Last time I heard the Minister of Finance praise this government that they have been able to, there are 13 vehicle assembly companies already in this country producing about 4,700 vehicles annually. He should have given the credit to Mr. Alhaji because the only serious policy that have been implemented by Nana Akufo-Addo himself is the introduction of SML, who only came to take around billion and also just throwing 58 billion into a hole. And so a single policy led to more top-notch automobile companies coming into this country. That is not the focus. The focus is rather to manufacture every component of vehicles as well as the parts in this country, which is captured well in the automobile industry. Again, we want to focus on pharmaceutical industry. How is it that West Africa that has a market of about $600 million in terms of pharmaceutical products, we are importing 70% of our pharmaceutical industries? What happened to our locals who will be in our cars and selling from cocoa to yours to every scavengers and so on and so forth? We have the capacity to be able to produce any pharmaceutical that we need. What is lacking is the right investment, and Alan is promising that. Then again, he is promising to establish a petrochemical industry. We have oil. Why is it that we are shipping everything raw? And under the petrochemical industry, he is promising that the western region will be the petrochemical hub of this country, where we will be producing plastics. Remember, plastic is a major component when it comes to automobile development. And so when you do that, you are tackling the components or the raw materials needed for vehicle manufacturing. Again, when you tackle petrochemical industry, you are talking about fertilizer. We are importing so much fertilizer into this country that it's needless. And it's because we are not investing in petrochemical industry. Once you invest in petrochemical industry and you are having your fertilizer produced in this country, you will be saved the trouble of expending more forex in importing these fertilizers into this country. And Alan is promising that. Then again, he believes that there is no reason whatsoever for this country to be exporting or shipping our bauxite, our manganese, our iron in its raw form. He believes that the country at worst must be exporting only 40% of it. 60% must be processed in this country. Because when you combine bauxite, manganese, and iron, you are getting steel. And it is steel that we use in producing vehicles and other industrial materials. So the idea of establishing integrated aluminium industry will be a prominent feature under Alan's administration. Then again, he promises to invest heftily in the garment industry, because the garment industry is a huge industry. A country like Vietnam is getting more than $30 billion every year from the garment industry. Tamale, or the northern part of this country, that there seem to be a lot of unemployed youth coming down south. If you want to deal with it and deal with it comprehensively, which Alan intends to do, is to make sure that your garment industry is flourishing. Because when you go to Tamale, Yendi, Kumbungu, and surrounding environments, one of the key crops that they are good at is cotton farming. It has become irrelevant because your Akosombo textiles, your GTP, your Japan, and so on and so forth are not functioning properly because of the high interest rate, the high taxes, the depreciation of the city. And so Allah is saying that when it comes, first of all, that's why I started from the macro point of view. We reduce we stabilize all these indicators and invest heavily in the garment industries so that we can rake in the benefit of it. He did it as a Minister of Trade. Remember, during Kufuor's time, when we had all these garment industries in the industrial area to take advantage of the AGWA, Africa Growth and Opportunity Act. He is promising you that, given the opportunity, which we believe that the Ghanaian is going to give the opportunity, he would further deepen the garment industry and so on. He talks about steel and now. A critical point is also how to change the mindset of the Ghanaian. Look, when you interview the average Ghanaian, you can go to the various universities, polytechnics, and the colleges. I interview the final year student. Don't even concentrate on the first years, because the first years most often are not too much into what the world offers to them. The final years that are about finishing school, when you ask them, what next after school? The first thing they tell you is that they are looking up to God. That is, they're giving up. Because there is no clear-cut strategy for them in terms of their career projection after school. They don't know what they can do. So we as a country, through policy, must first of all change the mindset of people that they can do it. And not just by word of mouth. You must also teach them through policy why and how they must be patriotic towards the country. No one seems to be patriotic now. We don't care about the country. Who is defending the country called Ghana? And it is also largely due to the fact that politicians, I don't call them politicians, have over the years waned any confidence that the good people of this country had in this country by their actions and inactions, by their opulent lifestyles. People that either could not even afford 3 square meals, all of a sudden, because they are in government, you see them riding in flashy cars, living in plush buildings, all at the expense of the taxpayer. And it's all through corruption. And so when you do that, then people begin to lose interest in government. So we intend to deal with this mindset, a change of mindset, by first of all, Alan living by example, eschewing corruption, arrogance of power, all are contained in our GTP. And then we come to governance. You are talking about how to govern and govern well. Remember, Alan has promised that he will govern this country with 40 ministers. A simple calculation in the system between 2017 to date about the expenditure pattern of ministers, how much we have expended on ministers between 2017 to 2020, when President Akufo-Addo appointed 126 ministers and promised the country that the workload was that huge and that needed more ministers. The country expended for the 4-year period 411,700,000 Ghana cedis on these 126 ministers. Remember, we started the free SHS with only 400 million Ghana cedis. So if only 126 employees of the state for 4 years we have expended 411,700,000, then it tells you that you cannot underestimate a lean government. In fact, the evidence also shows that when the ministers were reduced from 126 to 85, the expenditure reduced to 277.7 million. And can we say that with the appointment of the 126 ministers, there was any monumental shift in our economy? They only came to burden the country. It was only job for the boys. And so Allah is saying that 40 ministers is enough, and this is contained under our GTP. Again, the idea that you come to public office to come and steal is not something that Allah will countenance, and that you have to live by example, and that is what He intends to deal with. So clearly, we have shown that we have what it takes. We have the policy proposal to deal with the myriad of problems that the country faces. We believe that we have been doing politics of deception for far too long. Politics that people that want to lead this country never comes up with any ideas. All that we do is chobo, then we go and vote for them, and when they come in and begin to mess up, then it affects everyone. It is important that those retired men and women that went and bought government shares, bonds, never thought that a day will come that they will be given a haircut, which propelled them to pick it at the finance ministry. Maybe they trusted President Akufo-Addo so much that he was their age mate, and that when one is growing, I mean, the last thing you want to think about is to lie to the people. So they took his word very serious, that he was never going to lie to them. But he swindled them. That indeed we have also old men that lie through their teeth. And so this must be an eye-opener that going forward, you don't trust people by their age or by how well they speak their English language or slang, but rather you vet the very policies that they want to introduce. And that's why I'm so disappointed that I am yet to see the policy proposals being put forward by these two political parties. A political party like the New Patriotic Party, as we speak, are having a manifesto committee in excess of 390 members. Can you imagine? Yes. That the flag bearer of the NPP that has promised that he is going to have a lean government by appointing 50 ministers. When it was time to even appoint manifesto committee members, he appointed 319 members. Now, as we speak, they are yet to even write the foreword of their manifesto. There is nothing there. There is nothing there. And that is why when you see the vice president on campaign platforms, he's left with no choice than to be making wild promises and promises that do not solve any problem. What problem is, for instance, the purchase of mobile phones and paying of Ghana 1 city, 2 city going to solve? Do you remember Kasapa Telecommunication? Mm-hmm. You remember them? Do you know that they ever dashed phones to their subscribers? I saw it very well. In fact, their office was at, they were doing at Dansuman. People queued. They were giving people free mobile. They were not even taking anything. But where is Kasapa today? Yeah. It's collapsed. In any case, what sort of research has he done to come to a determination or conclusion that the very phone that he wants to supply to the Ghanaian is what they want? The ladies are looking for iPhone 14, 15 Pro Max, which is going for about 30,000 or so. You think they are looking for your yam? And how is it that as a vice president, a flag bearer of a country, that wants to take the people serious, you were speaking at Solar Kabatuna constituencies, a predominantly farming constituencies. You are not talking about how to improve their farming situation. You rather shifted the focus to provision of mobile phone. He will do that because, first of all, the Pualugu Dam that he lied to us, those of us in the south. Remember how they said the Pualugu Dam was done? He did that interview on the station in Accra. So in his mind, those in the northern sector were not listening. Other than that, if we had done anything monumental in the agriculture sector, you would have referred the people of Solar Kabatuna to what you have achieved in the agriculture sector. Instead, what did he do? He was promising them mobile phones. It tells you how he has failed. But I wouldn't be surprised that in the next few days he will come back and say he only made a mistake. Remember what he did in Bono? When he met the pastors and promised them that he was going to pay the church. In less than 24 hours, he came back to tell us that he was only joking. This is a president, a flag bearer that promises and comes back less than 24 hours and says, I've taken my promise back. I'm not giving it to you anymore. So this one, I am waiting for him to come back. It's not solving any problem. The core problem of unemployment, youth unemployment, high interest rate, high taxes, high cost of living, high rent, bad infrastructure, it is not dealing with it. So he must not be telling people, or the other I heard him say he is going to introduce credit scoring system, and that will be a game changer. And you have people in academia that ought to know. How is it going to be a game changer? Who told those people that we don't already have a credit system here? How do they think that those of us that go to bank to go and borrow, they give us interest rate? We have a credit referencing bureaus around, all over, that assess or give you credit, your credit score every day in and day out. So what is he talking about? That is why we must push him to bring his full policy. Rather than today he come with this to come and test the waters. Remember the first promise he brought was that he was going to establish a blue economy. You remember that promise? Yeah. What happened to that? Why has he run away from it? Why has the vice president of the land, Mahmoud Bawumia, run away from his blue economy? Because when we challenge him, when we put him to street proof, he realized that this line would not fester, would not survive. So quickly he ran away. And the next thing he came was that he was bringing us bold solutions. Those bold solutions were going to solve our problems. We scanned through the 76 or 75 page document that he presented at UPSA, and the only bold solution that was contained in that document was that he was going to abolish national service. How is abolishment of national service a bold solution? How is he going to deal with the problem of unemployment in this country? So he has to take us very serious. And note that the people of this country are no more interested in this hogwash type of promises. We must demand of our leaders, those that want to lead, what plans they have for us. And this is what has been amply exemplified by Mr. Alhaji through the Great Transformation Plan. I entreat all Ghanaians to have a look, read it and critique it. Because you have on the 7th of December 2024, what you are going to do by queuing is only to give your power to an individual. We talk about political parties, but at the end of the day, it is an individual that we are giving power to.
Right.
Which individual are you giving the power to? Check the person's credibility, competence, persona, ability to implement policies, and his judgment, so that you do not regret any decision you make on the 7th of December that you would have to wait for 4 years. And on this note, I recommend Alam for you, and the people of Bono must note that the coming 31st July 2024, Mr. Alhaji will be at their backyard to campaign. I end it here.
Right, thank you very much, Solomon. So I'll come back to you because I have some questions, but I'll skip Mensa Thompson and then go to Michael Nia Boyanan. The NDC have also been talking about some policy initiatives that they would implement when they are able to win power on December 7 and the flag bearer is sworn in on January 7, 2025. Now, there's this thing that the opposition, the New Patriotic Party in particular, has been saying about, even the flag bearer of the NPP has been saying that Mahama has just 4 years. If he's given the nod, he has just 4 years. But I think somewhere last week, I was with the former president on one of his campaign tours here in the Greater Accra region, where he tried to dispel that by saying that the Constitution gives you 4 years. So we expect that in 4 years, you're supposed to do something. So if you say that the person has only 4 years, it means that the Ghanaian voter is obliged to give you another 4 years if you fail in your first term. That, I mean, I very much understand. But I want to find out from you, with all the policy initiatives that the National Democratic Congress is proposing, we all admit that we find ourselves in a very terrible place as a country, and that even some scholars have said that it's going to take over 30 years for us to be restored to former glories or to be back on track. Now, with just the 4 years that Mahama would have, if he is given the nod by the Ghanaian people, what is he going to do? Especially in the short term, he has just 4 years. What is he going to do within that time frame in order to ensure that we have immediate change? Maybe it may not be huge, but I want to see significant change. And Ghanaians are a people with great appetite. We may have overblown expectations, but you cannot blame us, especially when you people keep making all these promises. So what is going to be done, especially in the short term, to ensure that we see some stability, to ensure that we do not see a spike in the cedi to dollar rate, to ensure that farm inputs, prices of farm inputs are decreased, so that the Ghanaian farmer can also afford these inputs in order to improve his or her farm? What will the NDC do?
Well, let me greet viewers and greet all.
You refer to him as Senna.
Hey. He's used to me on the morning show.
Yes. Let me also greet Comrade Singh here. Mr. Thompson, it's been a long time since we met. more than a year, I guess. As for Solo, is my partner in crime. Yes. I would also want to greet our comrades up north in Tamale for the launching of our campaign, and my two representatives, Castro and Ina. I'll get in touch after the show with them. Thus, the situation we find ourselves in, like you said, some experts say we need about 30 years. I say we need quite over 50 years to get back to our good ways. And that is to say that if the way we are going, we go the same way, then yes, we will need 50 years. By my computations, we may need 50 years to get back on track. So, yes, someone will say 4 years is certainly not enough. We've seen what has happened in the U.S., where Biden dropping off for Kamala to take over. That has not changed the Democrats' position on several policies. It is the party that actually sponsors a presidential candidate, and therefore policies don't go away because one presidential candidate is off or president has only 4 years. There is continuation in terms of our political structure. There is going concern in there, and that will ensure that whoever takes over continues the good policies, albeit if there are situations where variation is needed, it will be affected as well. And therefore, I do not see where that argument is coming from. Again, when we talk of policies, there are several aspects in terms of policies, and Solo rightly said that, look, if you are looking at our economy, what we need today is jobs, right? What we need today is manufacturing, production, growth, and all that. But what we had not been able to realize since 1957 is that if you want to provide jobs, you will need an investment. Where are you going to get the investment from? Are you going to use your own strength to rake in enough surplus and then direct those surpluses into those investments? We are not like the US. After the Second World War, when the Bretton Woods institutions took over and the gold standard was changed and all that, gold still remained the backbone of almost every currency until the Bretton Woods institutions were collapsed by the US. When the US says, with the trust in my economy, borrow me and let me work, and you sit down, do not work. So the US owes all of us, the rest of the world, over 50 trillion. Investment in companies by foreigners, savings in the US by foreigners, investing in projects in the US and all that by foreigners. And all the underlining basis has been the trust we have in that economy, that it will not break today, it will not break tomorrow. It is a secure vault to do business with. We cannot have that. We have never shown that capacity. Now, you would ask that, have we not tried it in 1957? After Nkrumah, we tried certain policies. Again, we said, look, Nkrumah was growing too fast, and we gave all the complaints. He was borrowing, which I do not think Nkrumah really borrowed. If Nkrumah borrowed, he borrowed for the Kosovo Dam, he borrowed for the Dome Bridge, and he borrowed for, I think, one other project, about 3 projects that he borrowed for. In all this, he left office with about 250 million in terms of debt. But to say that almost 80% of that debt was trade credit, which today we do not add it to our debt computations. Trade credit is not part of our debt today as we speak. Assuming it should be part of our debt today, then you would have realized that we may be doing over 200% debt to GDP. And that is the truth of the matter. That, look, aside our loans, aside everything, the demand on this economy for foreign currency is overwhelming. And therefore, it brings us to the fact that you must look at your monetary policy well, how you treat your currency. The cedi, when it was pegged to the pound sterling in the African pound sterling zone, you needed only about 0.6 cedis to buy $1. By our own decision makings, we ended up having to need more of cedis to buy just $1. What happened? Because we changed from pegging it to the pound sterling to the US dollar at that time. This economy that we are all in, we fail to understand that it has an history, an imprint on the consciousness of all Ghanaians, that we must operate in a certain way and in a certain manner. And that is our bane. Also, you talk of policies, and you can have beautiful policies. We can go back and look at our political history. Some of the policies you cannot question. They look so good, like that of the GTP. They look so good. But the GTP has not been able to tell us how it's going to finance it. What we need is a certain shift for just driving policy and looking at what would drive the policy. If you go to other countries and you are by your hotel, you look outside, you see people as early as 5-4 training, and before you can tell, they are with their jackets, they are going to work briskly. I was in my hotel, I watched three gentlemen, right, paved the whole stretch of this lane you have. Only 3 of them. They paved the entire place. What happens in Ghana? You will need a workforce of about 20 people. Very lazily, they will go about the job. At the end of the day, they will not even finish. What we are talking about when you see the policy of the NDC in terms of the economic policy that we think should drive the consciousness of the Ghanaian, saying that, look, it is 24-hour economy. It tells you that you must run, you must grind, your machines must grind. You, the individual, must work. You must be efficient, and you must be able to produce more within the shortest possible time. That is the consciousness that we need. How are we able to drive this financially? If I give you the opportunity to work for 24 hours, I don't think you will just wake up and start working 24 hours by sitting down in your office doing nothing. It means that there must be something that cannot be completed over a period, that needed to be completed on time, to be delivered for us to enjoy the resources that it brings. And that, for me, is what you can call a policy. If you take an investment decision that I want to put money in cotton, really, it's not a policy. It is an investment decision you have taken. So at all times, you need a broad frame of policy or a vision, and then you drill down to every aspect of the economy. What the NDC will do is clear, and we have stated it, and we did not start speaking about it today and in the current manifesto, but we had said it before. If we produce gold, then we must be able to take real advantage of gold production and using it to shove up our currency. What is the talk about all this BRICS issue? It's so that somebody can find a common platform for which to trade. And already in existence is gold, which is a common platform where all can trade. And this is something we can harness its benefit much more if we are able to use it better than using it for gold for oil, which for me, I believe it was not even a swap, it was a loan they were going for. If you put your gold at the exchange and says that I have this much gold, give me this much money, I'll pay you an interest. Within a month, if I'm not able to pay you the interest, then you can fall on my gold. Gold was just more like a collateral. So it wasn't a sale, it wasn't a barter, no. Now, if you claim you are buying the gold in cities, do you have this necessary resource in terms of money to buy? Probably that is why we produce more than 35%, or we push into the system more than 35% of cash by printing and the persistent cost of our inflation. So we are looking at every aspect of the economy and making sure that we do not do things that would affect us the way the current economy has been driven and is affecting the Ghanaian. So when we talk about policies, this is what a policy is. I have not heard any policy as we speak, apart from the 24-hour economy. I have not heard any other policy in this country. Point to me any policy and I will tell you that is an investment decision. And every investment decision must be able to tell us how it will be financed. Will it be financed from debt, or it will be financed by equity? Will it be financed by credit, or it will be financed by our surplus, or we will fall on our reserves? I think it is about time that when people come out with policies, we scrutinize it very well. Because I think the politics of this country has become too cheap. That everybody gets up and mentions anything and we term it as policy. It does not show that we are growing in our democracy. You have talked about these debates, presidential debates and all that. I would want to ask those who themselves want to organize the policy, the debate, right? How are they situated? Not in terms of their political leaning, but I'm asking, how are they situated in terms of their mindset on policy and economic issues? What has been their pronouncement on economic issues. Before the 4-year term and during or their experience of the 4-year term that started, or that we took that decision to give them the 4-year term in 2020. What has been their own assessment of that? If we know the assessment of that, if we know their positioning in thinking, then perhaps we could trust their judgment to come and ask questions. But you don't tell me that people who think similar to the ills of society today in terms of our economy should be the one being the judges or asking the questions. That I will not. If you ask me to go and sit in front of certain people for them to ask me a question, I will certainly check their background. I will check where they stand, where they are situated. And therefore, the issue is not about debate. The issue is about the Ghanaian assessment, owns assessment, and how we are able to prepare the Ghanaian to assess better the policies that are thrown there. Or probably to say, the attempted policies that are thrown there by certain parties. Because at the end of the day, when you are given power, you would have to implement it. So don't tell me that when you come, you will find money to implement it. Show me how you would get that money to implement it. Because when we were told about free SHS and the issues about the funding of the free SHS, we said when we get there, we'll cross the bridge. It will cost some percentage of GDP. GDP is not money in your pocket. But we allowed that and voted for that. And you think I should fall for that? Ghanaians should fall for that again? If we are fed with the fact that we are going to make an investment decision to give a free education to our children who will not be employed after we have spent all that money on them, they will not be employed. They will only be able to write, read, and probably calculate figures. But they will not be employable. When in fact, you have done nothing to generate more in terms of production and therefore growing the manufacturing subsectors so that they can employ these young ones even before they get to the universities so that they can work as factory hands. And tell me, show me what we have spent money on in terms of free SHS, how efficient it's going to make even them an effective factory workers. It will shock you that somebody who has never stepped in a school will probably be more efficient in the factory than somebody who has just completed SHS. Because whatever we did, we just did it because it was somebody's feeling. But it is not supported by good thinking. And we are paying for not thinking. And here we are again to give someone the mandate to run the affairs of this economy for another 4 years. And what are we talking about? All I hear we are talking about is more investment. More investment into what? How much is that going to generate if we put money in A or B? Nobody is able to tell us. We run a budget that will take decisions, right, to forgo taxes. We give exemptions, and we are not able to quantify our benefits out of those. We are able to tell our costs our investment, what we will lose. But we are unable to tell the Ghanaian or quantify to the Ghanaian how much booster that gives to this economy. We talk of growth in this country, and all the growth we are talking of is either financed by debt or propelled by inflation. And we are here talking about policies and how people are going to put in more money. And this is what we did from day one. Because when we could not produce enough, although we were building factories in this country, we could not export enough to increase our export earnings so much. We had to fall on our cocoa surplus to finance our trade credits. No one should invite the Ghanaian into that field of mediocrity any longer. We should be far awake, and we are awake, and we will conscientize the Ghanaian, and the youth will be conscientized to be awake, and the awakening spirit and the subconscious of the Ghanaian will be affected by this election.
Right. Thank you very much, Michael Diabuanan. If you're just joining us, this is your favorite weekend political talk show, Alhaji and Alhaji, live here on Pan-African Television. But we are also being watched in 46 other African countries via satellites in some parts of Europe and, of course, in some parts of Europe and South America. On Facebook, join us at facebook.com/Pan-African Television. I see scores of you are already watching. Also on YouTube, youtube.com/Pan-African Television. Special greetings to all our affiliates across the country. Those of you watching us in other parts of the country on radio, particularly, we are extremely thankful for your time. I'll read a few messages, then I'll come to Mensa Thompson. This one here says, "Bless, the problem we have in this country is egalitarianism and elitism. The so-called educated elites we have in this country are not problem-solving elites. They always create huge problems that will essentially benefit them and their immediate family and unborn generation. The 4% increment in petroleum products will certainly have ripple effects on standard of living and increase already excruciating hardship in this country." Ernest Everlove Kwashi from Dansoman. Thank you for your message, Ernest, and good morning to the good people of Dansoman. Thank you for doing the watching. Mystic from Gomwa West says, "I like some of the ideas put out there by Solomon Owusu, but if Alan Cash and the Afro-Franto movement really want to see this insensitive government by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Bawumia uprooted, they need to join hands with JDM to have their job done for the sake of Ghana, because the signs are clear that NDC is winning the December elections and the 24-hour economy is going to be the game changer." Thank you so much for your message. Good morning. What is the sense in making people vulnerable and taking care of them? The MPP government has deliberately made people poor, vulnerable and miserable by collapsing their banks and other jobs to make them unemployed. Now that 1.9 million youth are hopeless, 7.3 million Ghanaians are poor, 33% Ghanaian projects to be extremely poor, projected to be extremely poor next year, and the unemployment rate is 14.7%. Who should take care of them? Why is the government delighted in creating poor people and expecting applause for taking care of them? No one deserves credit for solving the problems he created. That's what Dr. Bawumia told us. How did we arrive at over 54% inflation, high fuel prices, high exchange rates, and junk state of the economy? Francis from Adeso sent this one. Thank you very much, Francis, for your message. Thanks to Solomon Owusu for exposing some of the lies of the NPP. The Bawumia promised to cut operators cars for their business, which never came to fruition. He is not thinking of work for the teeming youth coming out of school every year. This time he is going to provide mobile phones on credit for the masses and pay through installments ranging between 1 and 2 cedis. The youth are now looking up to the government to create jobs for them and not these lies again. A call from Takwa in the Western region. Thank you, a call, for your message. Good morning to the people of Takwa. Thank you so much for your time. This one here says, good morning, Pan African TV. Greetings to all the panel. In fact, listening to Mr. Nia Boyanan gives me hope. Hope that we can have proper technocrats to fill in positions in the next NDC administration to begin to overturn the misfortunes that we find ourselves in now as a country. Mr. Annan is an absolute genius. NDC is the best party to take Ghana out of this conundrum. Marcelinus from Laura in the Upper West region. I'll read this final message and then come to Mensa Thompson. Which aspect of government has this incompetent and lawless MPP government performed well in? They have recklessly destroyed every aspect of our economy by plunging it into bankruptcy for the first time in Ghana's history. The bottom line is that MPP must be told that for the first time in Ghana's history they have plunged. Okay, I think you've already stated that. Asanko from Santa Maria. Good morning, Asanko. I trust you're doing fine. Many thanks for always keeping it locked on Pan African television. On that note, I'll turn my attention to Mensa Thompson of ASEPA. As a civil society organization, as someone who leads a civil society organization, I'm sure he's been assessing the various policies of these political parties, and of course he has a lot of influence, especially on the Ghanaian youth. When he speaks, they listen. So maybe he will assess the policies and then advise his followers to say, to vote for a particular political party per the policies that he has been able to analyze. I want to find out from you, Mensa, have you been able to assess and analyze any of these policies, and what do you make of them? Have you digested Alan's great transformational plan? What do you make of the 24-hour economy? What do you make of the MPP's blue economy? By the way, it appears that Sabo would not come. It appears Sabo is not coming because it's been an hour and 41 minutes since we started the show and it's still not here. Sabo, I'm hoping that you come at least so that we have, a balanced conversation.
Well, I would have been surprised if he had been bold enough to come. Because looking at the way things are, it takes a lot of brevity for people to come and sit down and defend this government. You might have a lot of guts, But I think the political season is now taking shape. A lot of the parties are now beginning to put their policies and programs together. Today, I've had the opportunity to hear bits and pieces of Alan's vision. Some of them very interesting. It will be very interesting to look at them, model them out, and see how they can affect or impact the entire economy going forward. But before I even come to Alan's policy, I've been looking for this opportunity to meet Alan, and at least today I've met his spokesperson, or one of his spokespersons. So I've been looking for a real opportunity to tell Alan to his face, and I hope that I get opportunity to tell him that he is the reason why this country where we are today. Alan Tremantin is the cause of all the problems this country is going through.
How so?
He is the he is the reason why, the mess we are in now. The only person who had a chance, who had the opportunity to save us way back, was Alan Tremantin.
Tell us, explain.
In 2007, in University of Ghana campus, Legon.
I understand. Now I get where you are coming from.
Yes, it is Alan. His timidity and his lack of perseverance is what gave us this leadership. And so I have never shuddered in blaming Alan Chamartin for every time I see all the mess, I mention Alan's name. Because he had the opportunity to kill this mess even before it germinated. And today, look at where we are. Pulled out, conceded in an election where he had an opportunity to win. And this is why I always tell Ghanaians that when political parties are having their internal elections, take interest in it. Because if we do not take interest in what the political parties do and who they decide on, they eventually give us a mess. You understand? Alan could have solved this problem for us way long ago. And he failed. He thought he was being a gentleman. He thought he was trying to help somebody. He was trying to be a party person. And today, we are in this mess. So, any day I will meet Alan,
I'll send you to him.
I will tell him
Don't worry.
that, sir, I have so much respect for him. I'll tell him straightforward, sir, I have so much respect for you. You're a very respectable public servant and politician, but please, you are the cause of our suffering. You are the cause. If you had stopped this canker that was growing back in 2007, we wouldn't be here where we are today. And so he can have all the policies, but for me, that is the only reason why I won't vote for Alan. But I won't discourage people from voting for him. I think he has very fantastic ideas. It will be very interesting to look at them. We've been hearing bits and pieces of the NPP. I think they don't have a policy document together now, but every now and then you hear the flag bearer go around and making promises. And one interesting one I heard a few days ago was that he was going to make mobile phones very, very, very cheap, that the youth don't have access to mobile phones. And so he's going to sit down with the phone company so that they can give the phone out to people, and then people can pay one cedi each. Initially, I saw the story, I thought it was just a hoax. I never believed that at first until I saw the video myself. And then I think a few days ago, he'd actually had the gut to go back on other platforms to reiterate the same point without any form of embarrassment. So I was listening to Dr. Baumia, and all Dr. Baumia is saying is that the young people of this country don't have access to mobile phones. They can't buy the phones. Why? Because there are certain difficulties. There's difficulty, economic, difficulty, and so these young people can't buy the phones. Okay. Now, as an economist, his solution to young people's inability to purchase mobile phones is that he is not going to create jobs so that the young person can have a source of livelihood and a source of income and will be able to afford the phone by himself. No. He is not going to resolve the exchange rate, which has a huge bearing on phones because they are imported devices. And so when the exchange rate goes up, the prices of phones also goes up. He is not going to solve the exchange rate problem so that phones will be affordable, so that a young person who has a sustainable job can be able to afford, or can go to a bank and on his own merit be able to secure a facility to be able to purchase or whatever it is. He won't do that. He will not reduce the taxes, the huge import taxes that he himself, his government, has compounded on imported items in this country, including mobile phones, that has made it expensive for people to buy. He will not remove those taxes. But he is going to talk to the phone companies so that they can give the phones to young people, so that they can pay one CD, two CDs at the same exorbitant prices, whilst they don't have jobs, whilst they are hungry. What kind of comedy are we being served with on a daily? What is going on? And people following him were clapping. Nobody told the man that, Chief, you are going way out of the line. People were clapping for him. And I've seen his communicators going around defending this. So if you're a young person and you're looking for hope, if you're a young person and you are listening to Dr. Baumia, just know that if you are jobless, you are still going to remain jobless for the next 4 years. The huge economic crisis, the fundamentals has worsened for the last 7 years. You are still going to enjoy the same fundamentals with even severe hardship. But don't worry, the vice president will talk to the telcos. You go and pay 1 CD, 2 CDs and have access to mobile phones. So that in the night, you can light a fire, put the mobile phone in the pot, pour water and cook it and chop. So that when you are sick, you can take the mobile phone, take it to the hospital, they will give you paracetamol and anti-malaria, and then you can come and take. So that when your school fees is due, you walk straight to the administrator's office, you hand over the mobile phone to the administrator. This is my school fees. This is the economist too, talking. And people were clapping for him. That the problems confronting young people in this country, his vision is that for the next 4 years that he, Dr. Baumia, is going to be president, young people should be ready. They can only be afford 1 CD, 2 CDs a month. You are not going to be uplifted economically. That is the guy's vision. Please, let's not take this for a joke. Everybody's dream is that, or the dream of every economy is that you increase the purchasing power of your citizens. So you implement policies that will improve the purchasing power of your citizens. But this economy says no. In the next 4 years under me, my administration, the purchasing power of young people in this country will be 1 CD, 2 CDs per month. And so all my policy is going to make sure that what they can be able to afford every month is 1 CD and 2 CDs. Please, let's not take, he meant every word of what he was saying. He's not going to improve the standard of living of people so that people can be able to walk up to the shop and buy the phone at once. So that people who have sustainable jobs can be able to enter into a high purchase agreement with the phone companies themselves and be able to pay off their monthly salaries in bits. You understand? He's going to introduce a credit scoring system. What is a credit scoring system to a hungry man? Of what use is a credit scoring system to a bankrupt economy? Of what use? Of what use of a credit scoring system to a country that cannot even pay its own debt? Can you imagine? We can't pay our own debt. The country, the nation can't pay its own debt. But your dream is to come and introduce, please. Gone are the days where some of these economic, gerrymandering and tantrums and philosophies and theories without legs could hoodwink people. Oh. The last 7 years have taught Ghanaians very, very strong lessons. And so my advice to all the political parties, please, think your policies through before you announce them. Think your policies through. Take your time. No rush. Think your policies through. Because the average Ghanaian on the street now understand the economy more than you people sitting there thinking that you are formulating policies, because the economy is in their pocket. They face the economy. They are face to face with the economy. In fact, they are bedfellows. When they are sleeping, the economy is with them. It is not you who is coming from your party headquarters to come and tell them what the economy is. They know. It is in the food they eat. The economy is in what they eat. The economy is in what clothes they wear. The economy is all around them. Even now, pastors, now, they say, Charlie, they say, offering the cry, background when you be the light bill and the water bill. They are face to face with the economy on a daily basis. So please, bear in mind that the people understand the issues and they know what their needs are and they know what they are looking for. So think your policies through before you come and announce them. There are so many things that young people are looking for. Young people are looking for so many things. Primary of them is sustainable jobs. Any policy, any vision, any manifesto that isn't promising sustainable jobs for young people, you are out. You are out. It's not even worth listening to it. Any policy or program that doesn't have the propensity to create sustainable jobs and improve on the income capacity of young people, it's not worth listening to. You are out. So you keep on announcing one cedi for mobile phones, one cedi and two cedis. The poll results too will give you one and two. Because young people want to hear something. They want to hear hope. The disillusionment is too much. The deprivation is too much. The hunger is too much. It will shock you, to know the number of young people now who have been recruited by terrorist groups from this country, Ghana. There's so many latest reports on these things. It's a huge security threat. What will make a young person from Garu in the north to think that his only hope to a sustainable economic future is to join ISIS or Boko Haram or a terrorist group? It's an indictment on all politicians who have had the opportunity to rule this country. But we can't give up. We need to keep encouraging the young people that is the price we all pay for democracy. Democracy is very expensive. You have to pay a price. The price you pay for democracy is that Even when you have a useless government, you have to wait till the tenure of that government is over. It's a price we all have to pay. It doesn't matter whether you accidentally or knowingly elected a lunatic. You have to wait for the tenure to be over. However painful that is, you have to wait. But you can't step on a fool's testicle more than 3 times. You can't. So young people are poised and ready. They are ready to decipher the issues that the politicians are going to put to the fore, and know what is good for them and what is bad for them. They know. See, go to social media and engage young people. Sometimes, even jokingly, some of the comments they make in an attempt to just even make a joke or a funny comment, you read it over and over again and say, it will shock you that such a person who is not even a politician or an economist has such an in-depth understanding of economics or of the things happening in this country. So those days where people were going to the internet and distributing bentwa, those days are way gone. Now people understand the issues. So it is in the interest of every political party, including Alhaji Martin, however his mess, I say that thing that he did, I can never forgive him. For allowing Akufo-Addo to be president, I can never forgive Alhaji Martin for that. But he has very fantastic policies. You guys need to look at these things very critically. And then my senior brother, Cheddar, who is also, I see he's been inspiring a lot of the young people. It's not that he's an extraordinary character. It's not that he has anything. But the young people are just looking for hope. And they will clench onto anything that has the ability to offer them hope. You see? But it is important that we do not lose sight of the fact that these people are pretty much aware. Now Ghanaians are politically aware. And to be able to protect this democracy that we have, this political stability that we have, we need to change our ways, offer them hopes, come up with solutions and all that. Not the so-called empty board solutions. They should stop using adjectives anyhow. You can't come and tell me bold solutions and be announcing 1122 cities for mobile phones. That's not a bold solution. That's a ridiculous solution. So they should stop using adjectives anyhow and think of pragmatic ways, practical ways. Agriculture is there. How do we use sustainable agriculture to create jobs for young people? The internet is there now. The internet provides a whole quagmire of resources and platforms which can create opportunity for young people through software, hardware, networking, so many things. The young people are already abreast with these things. Let's find a way to transform these things into sustainable jobs for young people. Okay, mining is there, sustainable mining. Signing off our mineral resources to Chinese, to cronies, to people won't cut it. My brother, the amount of gold this country is sitting on, even Pan-African TV here, if we excavate this place, we'll see gold. I'm not saying anybody should come and excavate Pan-African TV. I'm just using that to show how endowed this country is. This is not a country a young person should wake up and be thinking of what to eat. This is not a country where a young person should be going to school and be thinking of how do I fund my master's? How do I fund my bachelor's degree? How do I pay for my hostel fees? How do I buy my textbooks? This is not the country. This is not the country where a young person wakes up and even internet data becomes a problem. The country is so endowed. We are sitting on huge resources. How do we harness on the resource potential of this country to create sustainable jobs for young people, instead of signing it off to some cronies and enriching our own family and friends? Millions of taxpayers' cedis leaking through public procurement. How do we stop signing off the taxes of this country to our children and create opportunities for all for all manner of people? This 34 million ambulance thing that the president signed off and gave it to his daughter, $34 million. Do you know how many jobs that money can create for young people? Do you know how many jobs $34 million can create? And then you sit in that cubicle called Jubilee House and you sign it off to your daughter. Okay? So young people are seeing all these things. What in God's name will you go and buy ambulance papers worth more than the cost cost of a brand new ambulance? There's something, obviously there's something wrong with you. The millions of dollars that you sank into the cathedral, do you know how many jobs that money could have created for young people? There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. So, in the midst of all this self-inflicted deprivation, you cannot come to me and be announcing that your solution is 1 cedi, 2 cedis for mobile phones. As for that matter, we will talk about it after elections. How can you come and tell me that your solution to all this economic quagmire is 1 cedi, 2 cedis a month for mobile phones? What is wrong with you? If a young people have a job, my brother, let me do a simple analysis. In 2016, the cost of an iPhone, a brand new iPhone, was about $700. In 2016, the exchange rate at the time was around 4.2. So the entire $700 amounted to a little over 4,000 Ghana cedis. 4,000 Ghana cedis. Today, the same iPhone, $750, is over 18,000. And you sit there and say that your solution to this, the dollar equivalent haven't changed, the manufacturer haven't changed its price. But within a spate of 7 years, because of your reckless economic policies, now the same iPhone, which a Ghanaian could have afforded for just 4,000 Ghana cedis, he's paying 18,000 cedis for it. And you said that your solution is that you are going to talk to the phone company so that he can pay 1 cedi, 1 cedi, 1 cedi, 1 cedi for that 18,000 mobile phone. Something is wrong with you. Somebody needs to be checked in this country. You know, in 2016, the taxes per unit on an imported phone was less than 1,000 Ghana cedis. The taxes alone, at the import duties alone, was a little below 500 cedis. Today, the taxes on an imported unit of iPhone is almost 2,000 Ghana cedis. Your solution to that is 1 cedi, 2 cedis installment, monthly installment. This is not a bold decision. This is not a bold solution. I beg your pardon. This is not a bold solution. This is anything short of an insult to the young people of this country.
Right. Right. Thank you very much, Mensa Thompson. I'll continue to do a few more messages. This show actually promotes inclusivity, so your messages are very, very important. I'm going to read a few of them. Francis Gordon says the basic checks and balances by various sectors and institutions are mostly neglected in Ghana. We tend to be more reactive rather than to be proactive to our own livelihoods. Ghanaians have the power to change their lives forever. Michael Robert Nunu says, I see you, the majority leader in Odududu. Okay. Cyrus says, bless the Baumia, who couldn't manage our international credit score such that we have been shut out of the market, is promising credit scoring to jobless youth. And this is how we have arrived here. I hope he comes to tell us he was joking. Bedu Kwame says, don't worry about the 4 years. We as Ghanaians will change the constitution to 8 or 12 years once we see a recovery. Muniru Asani Haruna says, good morning, Pan-African TV. Good morning, Muniru. Ali Abdul Wahab says, the youth is ready to use their blood to secure the country from the hands of this wicked NPP government. Right. These are some of your messages on Facebook. Let me do this final one from Bawa Henry in Garu. Says, good morning, Bless. I'm watching you live from Garu, getting to NDC parliamentary candidate. Greetings to NDC parliamentary candidate for Garu constituency, Dr. Thomas Anaba, and Edward Bishop Dugan says JDM is far better than Akufo-Addo's. His 4 years far better than Akufo-Addo's 8 years of mismanagement and greed. Government officials grabbing state assets like there is no tomorrow. Alhaji Baumia, God is watching you from above. All right. Thank you so much for your messages on Facebook. Let me do this one, which says that good morning, boss. I am in class this morning by the kind courtesy of your show. The gentleman representing Alliance Party is an extraordinary communicator with an amazing assertive communication skills. This great man's display of effective political communication and political marketing with precise delivery of issues underpinned by critical and analytical approach. Politicians, especially political communicators, need to learn from him. Wish you the very best of your irresistible socio-political show. You are the best. Amin Lamte, expert in political communication. Thank you, Amin Lamte. I'm sure Sulu has listened to your compliments and then he acknowledges it. Bless. I did a small calculation. I want an iPhone 15 Pro Max when Baumia hopefully wins the next election. By my arithmetic, at 1 Ghana cedi per month, it would take me 1,250 years to pay for my phone. The same number of years it took Homo erectus to become modern man. See how upset it is? So do you realize the kind of lunacy we have in government? You see why I advise the NPP not to steal the mental hospital? Did I hear my brother say you can't step on a fool's testicle 3 times? 3 times? I thought we had 2. Obiara die mienu. So why wait for a 3rd time, by which time you will have nothing left? And this came from Kwejo Chumbwa for his also appears on the show. Yeah, yes, and I'll read this final one from my father Stephen Peng. Good morning, Bless. The policies of the NPP government are on pronouncements. In close to 8 years, the policies they preferred have yielded no results, and Baumia is promising mobile phones to Ghanaians on credit. What a shame. JDM all the way, away with NPP and Baumia. Stephen Peng from Wa. Good morning, Sir Stephen Peng. I trust you are in fine fettle. I continue to wish you good health. Now, we'll move away from the messages. We'll proceed to our next topic for conversation. Our time is limited. I'm sure we won't have time for the 3rd one, but we'll focus on the mid-year budget review. A few days ago, on the floor of Parliament, the Finance Minister, Amin Adam, he read out the mid-year fiscal policy of government, and a few takeaways. But of course, the big one is the fact that our debt to GDP ratio now stands at a staggering 742 billion Ghana cedis. If I'm not wrong, I know it's 700 and something, perhaps 742 billion Ghana cedis. Today, on my way to this show, I sat in an Uber. I didn't even start the conversation. It was the Uber driver who started lamenting about how expensive, very, very expensive prices of goods and services have been over the past few years. I was in this country on July 1, 2007, when we introduced when we did the redenomination of our currency, the cedi. And it came along with a song which said that the ball of kinky you buy for 1,000 will be 10 Ghana pesos. So at the time, the equivalent of 1,000 cedis then was 10 pesos. And that was the cost of a ball of kinky. So since 2007, that should be about 17 years. For the past 17 years, the price of kinky, by my calculation, now sells at a ball sells at 5 Ghana cedis now. There has been a 5,000%, not 100, not 500, not 700, not 1,000, 5,000% increment in the cost or in the price of a ball of kinky. And this has been through governments, from the NPP, from the NDC to the NPP collectively. Though we all admit that the bulk of that increment has been from 2017 to now. But it appears that issues in relation to inflation, particularly food inflation, affects us greatly. Why do we not have stability? Why is there a lack of stability? And I'm going to start with you, Don, on this particular subject matter. Why do we not have price stability? At least we should be able to go a whole year without even a peso increment in the price of a particular commodity. But today you go to the market, the next day the price has changed, it has increased. Why can't we have that form of stability now? Why? Don.
Well, bless. It's simple. The answer is the factors of production in this country are equally not stable. They are very unstable. And for that matter, you would have to stabilize those before you can talk about stability in price, prices of goods and services. You provide service here, and therefore you will need certain instruments in the provision of your service. You need cameras, you need microphones, and all these are imported, backed by the dollars. And this is dollars that you don't control. You don't really determine the price of it. You have actually elected a government who brings in a governor to preside over technocrats. And then those technocrats, plus the governor, who is more like appointed, plus the board, if they decide to do the wrong things, the effect will be the price instability that we have witnessed all over these decades. I keep saying, and I think that it is time Ghanaians give their minds to those issues. That look, you can have the fine policies, you can do the right things, you can have the right visions, but when you do not understand how the world economy is situated today and where you belong within the world economy, you would always find yourself wanting. Now, let's look at the historical print on the minds of every Ghanaian and how we are shaped to think when it comes to the economy. Our shaping thinking is that let's borrow And when we borrow dollars, we will not demand the dollars to be spent in Ghana. We demand a currency, which is our currency, called the Ghanaian cedi. And this Ghanaian cedi will be issued. More of that will be issued in an equivalent of what has been borrowed. Right? So you end up putting more money in the system. What that happens is that when and you can check even as far back as the 60s, anytime we had economic challenges, that is when the issuance or production of money goes beyond 12 to 16%, then we have issues. But we have not been able to limit ourselves. Now, if you look at the Bank of Ghana Act, it only restricts them based on what they are able to generate as revenue, say revenue, 5% of revenue. But would you also look at the supply of money, your M2 plus, how it looks like? And at all times, you can plot. I have predicted what is happening now in terms of where our currency will be at this time. And that is where it is. Because you can really predict how it will go. How people will dump the cedi and go for the foreign currencies and all that. Now, at the back of all this lies how we have structured our economy till date. And the mid-year review budget that was read is a complete example of how mediocre we have been with the running of our economy over the years. Look, we have projected 176, and then we say we have upped it by less than a percentage, I think 0.2% increase to 177 billion. And what is the reason? The reason is not production. Then we come to the expenditure, and I think we have reduced it by some 2%. Nominal of 7.9 billion. And that is not because we have lowered our appetite to spend. That is because we had gone on the negotiating table, and therefore we have been able to defer. I don't call it a relief. It's deferment of 7.9 billion. And therefore we have lowered expenditure. We are here to finance a debt of about 50 billion, a deficit of about 50 billion, out of which 15 billion is coming from the IMF, the extended credit facility. And then what happens? From January to June, we have borrowed over 134 billion. From December 2023 of 608 to a date of, I think, 742 or so billion. Now, the target is that in some 2028, we are going to have debt to GDP of 50. It will be a 50%. This is something, the target we have put ourselves in. But look at the rate of borrowing. Only for the first half, you've borrowed 138 billion. So the way we are structured to think, if we proceed in that same manner, by the end of this year, we would have borrowed another 134 billion, bringing us to what? 260 billion. So ask yourself, if we are doing a debt of 260 billion year on year till 2028, whilst you are looking at the current position of debt and how debt restructuring is going to save you something for now and postpone some for the future, would depict that picture for you of a 50%. But what of what you are accruing today, which is not part of your debt restructuring? So you see, we are running an economy that is debt back. Someone will ask, do we have a solution to this? Yes, there are solutions to that. But are we bold enough to take on those solutions? We are not. Because we are under the control of the IMF and the Bretton Woods institutions. And they will direct and shape our policies. What we need is a bold leadership that says, I am departing from this. I will bite the bullet for it, but I'm departing from it. Not departing from it because it will make you rich overnight. But over a time, it's going to make Ghana a more sustainable economy. And we can prosper as people. Today, me and you, no matter what orientation we take on, we cannot prosper because of a certain man's decision who the mandate of the people is given to prosper us and make sure that he takes decisions to the benefit of all Ghanaians. In fact, as they take their oath, they say, I will do good to all manner of people. But they come in and they do bad to all of us, except their tribesmen and their cliques. But what we need to understand with every economy is that money alone plays more influential role in the management of an economy. And if you realize how our currency deteriorated, the issue of our currency, as I have stated before, when we had the haircut, when everybody had to lose, I think, 20% of his money in savings, and all that till date. If you had 120 Ghana cedis in your bank account, you would have lost 20 cedis out of it. And all that should tell us that it is time we look at what we call money in this country. If you talk of inflation, money plays a huge role. If you talk of investment, money plays a huge role. If you talk of production, money plays a huge role. Now, if you have gone through the document presented to Parliament, we are told that our reserves have improved. On the backs of what? Remittances. Not production, not exports, but remittances.
Yeah.
So this tells me that this is an economy that is going nowhere. Now when we talk of this economy rebounding quickly and getting stronger and all that, how do you define something getting stronger? How do you define a rebound? I thought that when you rebound, it's getting back to where you used to be and even improving. But this is not an improvement. Look at the currency. What the minister came to Parliament to celebrate was the fact that in 2022, by this same period, we have done about 22% depreciation of the cedi. And this time around, we have done so well because we did 18% depreciation. I mean, the question I will ask you is that as of the rates in December 2023, right, has that rate gone back to its default rate before 2023 rates? So what I want to say is, we started 2023 perhaps with a certain amount, let's say 10 cedis to $1. Or in June, we had 10 cedis $1. And then you depreciated it to 22. By 22%. So let's say it became 13 cedis. I want to ask, did the dollar reset itself to its default rate of 10 cedis and therefore achieving 18% depreciation can be praised? No. You are building upon the depreciation rate. You are building on the 22%. It is only in this country that I find people say, oh, we have done well. When we came to power, the dollar was 4.5%. You had depreciated it from, let's say, 1.5 or 2, so I have done better because I have added a lesser percentage to it. My friend, the max was 4.5. If you say I will perform better, it means that you should reduce it to 3, to 2. Better is not increasing it to 16, 22 cedis a dollar. That cannot be better. Our sense of value, our sense of measurement, our sense of performance in this country, I believe, has been damaged. And we really need to go back to it. What does this media review budget means to us? Nothing. In fact, I feel that it is insulting. After coming to tell us that you have enrolled more state institutions onto GIFMEX and all that, and therefore you should be more accurate with your figures and be able to present figures to me. We do not have physical data for the first quarter, and we do not have any physical data for the second quarter. So the whole half of the year, the Ministry of Finance cannot post the physical data on its website. What is hindering that? I think that we should be respected and our parliament should be respected. What he presented need not to be presented because there is no use, there is no need for it. It is a waste of everybody's time. It brought to no initiative, nothing. No stimulus package, nothing to push up industry when we know that the manufacturing sector is really suffering and actually producing at a negative. That is what we needed to hear something about. How are we going to strengthen the currency? What are we doing differently? Are the policies being taken on by BOG enough to ensure that we stay intact for the second half of this year? No. I don't see it. If you can achieve 18%, the second half is going to be more turbulent. So what should I expect? I will expect more than 20%. And is that good for the economy? No, it is not good for the economy. So what did the finance minister, what was his business in parliament? What was he doing there? It is just a matter of like, I have to go and give them something. So let me pen something down and go and give it to them. For me, I say that this is not supported by any figures. I have not seen it. And it is a waste of all our time having to even discuss it. And I think that this gentleman should not take the footsteps of someone who have destroyed himself. Because I see this as a kind of Oforiatta's writings. I see the language, everything. It's not his language. It's that of Ken Oforiatta. Mm-hmm. Really, I don't know. I don't think he's the Minister of Finance.
Right. Thank you very much, Michael Niabana. Let me come to you, Mr. Thompson. I'm sure you listened to the 2024 media budget. I know mostly you've been going to Parliament whenever there is. So this recent one you were there. So all right. So I'm sure you heard everything that he said. What are some of your takeaways?
Well, for starters, I wasn't expecting anything that apart from rhetorics, which we've been served with. You know, Amin Anta is from civil society. We've worked with him, a lot when he was at ASEP, And so we've had a lot of conversations with him. And sometimes you don't know what happens to people when they get into government. You know, whether there's a special pot that when you get there, before they give you the position, they say, drink from it. So you become like us, you know. But I think, you know, he's a very fine gentleman. It's just that he wore a very wrong shoe. He decided to wear a shoe that has already been torn, that, you know, a lot of mud has been thrown, not just mud, excuse my language, feces oil has been thrown at that shoe. So the shoe itself wasn't appetizing. He decided to wear it on behalf of the owner, who has been declared persona non grata by everybody in Ghana apart from President Akufo-Addo, who decided to give him, you know, a job. He say now they say he's what, in charge of international what is his rank now? Kind of right. He say he's in charge of international something. I mean, clearly he's out of course. This media budget review would go into history as one of the most emptiest. Not only because they did not go to Parliament with any further supplementary estimates. I mean that would have even been worse if they've gone to Parliament to ask for more money. That one, I'm sure a lot of people, Ghanaians, would have walked to Parliament with sticks in their hands to chase this guy out of the chamber. You know, but there was nothing really in it that was, you know, that really was, you know, that catches people's attention, you know. But one of the things that stood out for me was the confirmation that since 2017, 9.9 billion, a total of 9.9 billion, is what the government have spent on the free SHS program. And that is in the media budget review statement. I quickly wrote that down. In fact, that was the only thing that caught my ears in the entire, you know, several hours of stuff that he. And I quickly wrote it down because of a very vile propaganda that has been peddled by government propagandists and officials of this administration, that the current economic crisis that we are in is as a result of the free SHS program. And that and they go around the villages telling people, oh, a normal now say, you know, because I buy man kolano school free. School na buy man kolano free no, and then you know can free SHS no, and then I'm normal say. In fact, today, from the horse's own mouth, they have confirmed that a total of just 9.9 billion have been spent on the program since 2017. And for emphasis sake, let's do calculation. Me, I like these things, calculation. They are telling you that our public debt is over 700 billion now. In the last 7 years, this government has borrowed over 600 billion Ghana cedis. 600 billion Ghana cedis. Tax revenue has generated over 480 billion. That alone, we are over 1 trillion Ghana cedis. So, oil revenue has given us close to 120 billion. Grants, royalties from minerals and what have you alone is over 100 billion. If you put all this together, rough estimate, this government has gotten not less than 1.6 trillion cedis in the last 7 years. And out of this, a paltry 9.9 billion is what have been expended on the free SHS program. Even the 9.9 billion is in arrears. But that is how much they've spent. My brother, 9.9 billion as a percentage of 1.6 trillion cedis is less than 7%.
How much?
9.9 billion as a percentage of 1.6 trillion cedis is less than 7%. Roughly, let's give them 7%. Of all the money that this government has gotten in the last 7 years, only 7% of the total revenue that has accrued to them has been expended on the free SHS program. And brother, how can 7% of a total revenue be the cause of the problem?
It's 1%.
It's less than, it's about 1%.
It's 1%.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Percentage.
It's even less than 1%.
It's less than 1%.
Yes, it's less than. It's not 7. Because you need 1,001 billions to get 1 trillion.
Yeah.
Yes, this 1.6. So this is 1.6 trillion is 1 trillion 600 billion.
Yes. It's less than 1%.
So less than 1%.
Yes, but let's be charitable, my brother. Let's be charitable to these people. Let's even give them 5%.
You can't.
It's about
0.5 or 0.6.
So how does free SHS become the problem? Come say, free SHS na this scanning na school na enkwala no ko no free no. School na enkwala no ko no free no. Aban mo man enkwala no ko school free she say eno wonu meka wabo or the scanning na ko she school nim. Today, that propaganda, that debate is settled once and for all. Let nobody, and I'm sending a warning, let nobody, no government propagandists come and tell us that we are in this economic quagmire because of the free SHS program ever again. The money this government have gotten, how much did you spend on the children? Small education you've given to the children. You want to compound all the blame on the children, innocent children, blaming them for being the economic mess because of small education you gave to them for free, and hiding behind their backs and using these children as shield, as political shield. I mean, this government, they have no conscience. You remember what they did in 2020? Getting innocent people and taking them pictures and showing them, remember me, remember those adverts that they were doing, remember me. They put them on billboards. That if using them, using innocent people. So nobody should come and tell us that free SHS is the cause of our problems again. Never. These children, free SHS has come and it has come to stay. It is a responsibility. The state is a father. The children are our children. It's our responsibility to educate these children. And with the money that the government has gotten, these children can enjoy free SHS 10 times, and it will affect not even a pinch of the economy. With the money this government has gotten, in the last, we could have even given free tertiary education. How much does it cost? What is the annual budget for the tertiary schools? We could have even given the children free tertiary education in the last 7 years with the money this government has gotten, and the economy wouldn't have shaken even an inch. But they will hide behind free SHS and say, "Oh, school now kolano kono free no." And when I hear that, I just want to stone somebody. School now kolano kono free no, and no, and they go to the market, to the villages, and they whispering this into the old women. No man I dey no, into so born I dey no. School now kolano kono free now. So no na mama no. Enye school no na mama ni mo eden. Ya memu bone. Chrono corruption. Bosia basa. Banks near Numa buying the good, no. Those are the things that have created the problem. So the government, this is a government that doesn't take responsibility for anything. And like Dr. Haboy was saying, if you look at, you know, the indicators that they were presented, if you listen to the indicators, you wonder, well, who do these people sometimes think they are talking to? That your reserves has improved because of remittances, and you are jubilating. Do you know what remittances is? People living abroad sending money to their relatives here in Ghana. So you have impoverished more Ghanaians, and now Ghanaians are begging their relatives abroad to send us local fuel. And that local fuel, because that local fuel has improved your foreign exchange, you are celebrating. Something is wrong with these people, my brother. Something is wrong with these people. Anytime foreign remittances increases in your country, what it means is that more of your citizens are begging. That's what it means. Because if things are hard for you, if your brother is in London or in America, oh Charlie, Charlie, I know pay kakra to show mama why?
Pounds cafe.
What pay 20 bi dia mama. Oh, na men sisa na jami fanhwe. So as more people are begging people, their relatives abroad, their friends abroad for money, your remittances are increasing. So economists from a bon way. When your remittances are going up, it means more and more of your citizens are begging. And they are begging because you have impoverished them. It is not a cause for celebration. Right. What is this?
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. Finally, let me come to Mr. Owusu.
Yes, let me first of all say that our current economic melee you cannot blame Alan for it, as my brother sought to do, because the very year that he allowed President Akufo-Addo, or then candidate Akufo-Addo, to go through, Ghanaians rejected Akufo-Addo. Subsequently, try as he did to make sure that he does not become the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the delegates of the New Patriotic Party saw it otherwise. So if there is any blame, it's Ghanaians that we have to blame, and not only Alan Jamati. If for anything at all, Alan saw what was ahead and decided to give him a good run. But unfortunately, the delegates of the MPP saw it otherwise. And today, they are all having to feel the bad governance of this incompetent Akufo-Addo, who has checked out as president. And I was thinking Parliament will immediately promulgate a law to seize him or prevent him from drawing salaries from the state as he has checked out. This budget, I agree with them. I mean, it was a total waste of our time. When you read the budget, yes, he was satisfying the constitutional provision and Article 1798. Yes, he was satisfying the Public Financial Management Act under Section 28. And so you would say that he needed to do something. But to do something did not mean to go and stand there for 5 hours and present to us nothing. The only departure or the only new thing that was present in this budget was the fact that we were denied the usual white shirt that Ken Ofori-Atta would have worn, and then spoke in a very light manner, and also quote either Genesis or Revelation or Psalm with that Azam mentality. You see, in this country, the way they have abused the name of God, when the Ghanaian is going to steal, the first name he mentions is God. So we allowed Ken Ofori-Atta to be using the name of God to deceive the people of this country. And so Anta didn't do anything serious there. In any case, or in any event, this was a budget, the original budget that was presented in November of 2023 was presented by Ken Ofori-Atta. So I agree with the Don that the very language that was behind this whole media review was coming from Ken Ofori-Atta. And Amin Anta, if in the last 4 or 5 months that is left, he must spare our ear of sympathizing and empathizing with us. He was not put there as a finance minister to only come and sympathize and empathize with us. We don't need his sympathy. That sympathy buys food. Sympathizing with the Ghanaian. Does it buy medicine? Does it rent accommodation for the team? Yesterday I saw a young man warning that by end of July or August, if he's not gotten any job, he's going to kill himself. This is where we have got into. So you as the finance minister who has been entrusted with our tax revenue, the reason why you are giving the money is not because you are called Amin Anta. It is because we believe that you can use this money to generate the much needed employment in the system so that young ones will get something to do. Empathizing with us and sympathizing with, what's the sense? You telling us that you grew up in Abu Abu in Tamale does not change the situation. All of us come from a humble beginning. So that is the more reason why you must even do more. Because if you look at your past, you should go back to the Abu Abu and see whether the very situation you left it, the conditions are still permeating. And if it is, what are you doing to change the situation? Not to come and then tell us where you were born and where you were working. That is an exercise in mediocrity. And I did not give you my tax revenue to come and tell me this. It's total waste of everyone's time. Look, in 2023 November, when Kenofurata was presented this budget, bogus budget as such, he said they were going to make judicious use of our tax revenue. That was part of his forward. Then in the same budget, he said we were going to, in the whole year, collect close to 177 billion or so. Immediately after that, he told us we were going to expend 221 or 22 billion, creating a deficit of 50 billion. How is it that you, before you even collect the money, you say you are going to spend more than what you are going to get, represent judicious use of money? Are you not crazy? Are you not crazy? Now we sit down and we eulogize some of these people. I mean, neighbor, how did we get here? No. Sometimes I don't get it. He messed us up together with the president and the vice president, and he has been given international appointment, negotiating on our behalf, enjoying his booty, impoverishing the very Ghanaian. 33% poor. Close to 1 million people in the Ashanti region. And here, they are now under the poverty radar. Go to the north, poverty rise, Greater Accra, poverty, central, everywhere. People are struggling to eat just a meal in a day. People are sleeping at the lorry stations. That is their place of abode. And that's how it doesn't even rain in Accra anymore. Because the amount of prayer that Jesus Christ received every day, that God do not rain, do not rain. When you rain, where are you going to sleep? Meanwhile, it rains for us to have bumper harvest. Now we have a finance minister. Goes to parliament. Just to tell us that the deficit of 50 billion, by the benevolence of our external creditors, interest of 7 point something is going to be taken out. It's 42, so we should clap for him. And that, as of December 2022, our inflation was 54.1%. Now it is 22.8%. So we should clap for him. Who took it to 54.1? Did you expect me to come and bring it down? We have said that what John Mahama was doing in 2016 was not good, and it was the reason I campaigned vigorously against John Mahama. At that time in 2016, the inflation was 17.4%. Apostles of economic ideas Look, any economic theory that does not follow common sense is not economics. Don't allow anybody to trick you with this GDP, GMP. It's all semantics. Look, in 2017, when this government came to power, the first budget was what? A Juma budget. They gave it to us. Well, did they create any job for you? The next budget, they say Inshira budget. The third budget, Ahoto budget. The fourth budget, Golden budget. This budget that they gave to us in November 20, is in Gunim. And Kwasiasam budget is in Gunim budget. What are they talking about?
On a funny note, you were fighting with me by the first.
I fought you. That is why I'm so angry today. I fought him. I remember, I fought him very well.
This 4 budgets.
Now you bring us in Kunim, this in Kunim budget that is supposed to liberate the people of this country. Someone dies in Norway, go and bring a flu, go and bring the corpse, the family members. No point of return. They are gone. Who wants to be this? Look, now the embassies are even not giving date for people to come for interview.
They go.
You must applaud those who have run away because they probably took a better economic decision than any finance minister under this administration.
It's the best for them. It's the best for them.
Yeah.
You understand? The people, they say they won't come back. Look, the finance minister goes to parliament, media review. You say things are improving. And in that same way, you are empathizing with us. If things are improving, why are you sympathizing with us? That turning the corner, that was what they told us last year. We have turned the corner. You had small time in the coin terms. Come and tell us, rubbish. Inflation. They say end of year we will still maintain it at 15%. You know why they still want and look, the Ghana Statistica, the boss, he must be told in the face that he cannot do any dubious calculation to bring the inflation to 15% by end of year, because nothing suggests to me that inflation will come down. I mean, is fuel prices not going up? It's going up. It's a fulcrum.
Even the 23.whatever% they are telling us,
it is you know, when they want to deceive with them, they go and assemble different commodities into the basket and do calculations. You understand? All that this government wants to do is that by December 2024, they will say, oh, we told you we are better managers of the economy than the previous administration. And that, whereas they left it at 17.4%, we are leaving it at 15%, so vote for us. This is what is this? The youth of today, what is happening in Kenya, it didn't just happen. Oh. It was a spontaneous reaction to the economic situation. So if this administration will not learn anything from it, the better. Now, because of non-performance, all their communicators and their social media people have turned into video shop and Photoshop. Last time, someone sent me the Pokwasi in Saham Road. I said, what? Everywhere, asphalted. I said, what is going on? Is that the road that I've been using that? It's not fit. Say, then he interested, the guy is in Suyane. Was saying, you say you are always bashing the MPP. See what you have done. I said, have you been to Accra before? This morning, they have started circulating some videos of supposed caterpillars or so for assemblies. And these are all lies. They want to deceive the people. They have lost it. What is left is let's deceive them as much as possible so that they will vote for us. And this is where I once again agree with my co-panelist that elections have consequences. If you don't value the decision you make in December, your mistake, you would have to wait for 4 years. Because nothing will say, look, nobody's going to impeach any president. This country, we don't impeach. And the military is even tired of coup d'etat. They themselves, they are satisfied. They are not hungry. I went to Tamale and saw a military officer. It was as though the president was eating. His bodyguards alone, why would such a man go organize the coup? They are okay. So you would have to live in your poverty. And that is why election 2024, do not go and accept any gift to vote for that person. The money that they will bring, now the new patriotic party is sharing money. Take it, it's your own tax. But there is a reason why voting is a secret enterprise. You are not mandated because you have taken money to go and vote for that person. If indeed the government of the day believes it has performed, why must they give you money? They are only giving you money to buy your conscience so that you vote for them to continue to steal this country. Vote against them. Vote for Alan Chemantin with his policies so that we can bring the country together and engage serious minds. Mensa Thompson, the Don, all of them are serious minds that we can govern with. They can only have a role to play in your administration when there is an independent president. When you bring a political leader, the first challenge he has is that he has to sacrifice all the party apparatchiks. As we speak, someone is in Ashama targeting how to take over a toilet facility. When there is a change of government from one party to the other. But that will not happen under an independent presidential candidate who is going to take it over from on behalf of Movement for Change. It won't even happen. It won't cross your mind. Now, Amin Anta must also spare our ears of always referring to Russia-Ukraine war. Because the president diffused that position by wearing a blue jacket, going with a first class ticket with his entourage, spending close to $500,000 and going to meet Zelensky to beg for food. He disproved all this theory, so he must know, he together with the communicators of the NPP must not be going around saying Russia, Ukraine affected us. Because where the bombs were dropping, the president saw the need or found the need to go and see the president of that country to beg for food. So what else do you need? In any case, do they plant cassava in Ukraine? Do they plant yam in Ukraine? Corn in Ukraine? In this country, we eat fufu, we eat komi, we eat yam, and besi, and so on and so forth. Which of these is grown in Kiev? Your lazy policy, instead of your Minister of Agriculture concentrating on food, he is concentrating on hotel. Why wouldn't you be suffering? Go and grow crops. You want to take over hotel. And so when you go to Domi Market, tomatoes 3 is going for 20 cedis. Yeah. It's a sad situation. Your time is up. I'll end it here for another day.
Thank you very much. I'll read a few messages, then we can call it a day. Prince Henry Kufuridia says it is disheartening to see Simnana Kufado, who spoke against family and friends government in opposition, has now made family and friends one of the MPP's government social intervention. Hey, Nanado is a cobra. Simple. The future is pregnant. Prince Harry from Kufuridia, thank you very much for your message. Please discuss the famous Ijapadia document one of these days with your esteemed panelist, Felix Grant Akenye alias Igwe from Dabala Junction, South Town District. Thank you for your message. Good morning, Pan-African TV. My name is Joseph Solomon. Why are you talking like this? When they were sharing their money, where were you? Were you not with them? Didn't you take some?
I took some.
Right. This one here says, good morning, blessed. The MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Baumia, invariably lacks prudent and pragmatic policies that can turn around the fortunes of the Ghanaian economy. His policy propositions are very bizarre and anathema to progress and prosperity of the young people in Ghana. Anyone who will vote for this clueless and inept vice president masquerading as an economist does it at his own peril. We must all resolve to vote this government out and elect NDC to come and rescue us from this economic quagmire we found ourselves in as a nation. Written by Ernest Everlaf Kwashi. Thank you, Ernest, for your very well written message. Right, let me proceed to this next one. You've sent a picture and it says this is Jantong Dashi Primary and GHS under Savannah region. This current MPP government has neglected them for about 1.5 years now. All right, thank you for your message, and thank you so much for bringing that to our notice. Okay, good morning, team. Alhaji and Alhaji. Mr. Thompson's concern for the future of our youth is quite understandable. He should, however, not overlook the fact that the elderly have also been negatively impacted by those poor government policies over the past couple of years. Ni Amu Adi from Oyibi sent this one. Thank you, Ni Amu Adi, for your message. Okay. This one here says, so look, you've not given us ample information on how to join the movement for change.
Oh, really?
BB from Accra sent this one, and quite a number of people have been asking for a number too.
Oh.
So if the movement for change has a number,
Oh, we have a number. We have a number.
yes.
Oh,
So-
we have been giving all these things out.
Yes.
Give me his contact. I will forward it to you.
right. So
But
really-
you should go to our www.alanchamantin.com.
Okay.
.org. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Everything is there.
A lot of people. I've had several messages of people asking for your contact.
But they want
yeah.
change, transformation.
Yeah. This one here says that, good morning. If it is a curse we bring upon ourselves, please God forgive us. Our beloved country is seeking redemption because we are dying. We chose our way and this is what we got. Okay. You didn't tell me your name and where you sent this message from. Good morning. Please kindly ask Baumia that God forbid, but if he comes to power and his one Ghana city with his one Ghana city phone policy, what about if the dollar rises to 30 Ghana cities to $1? What happens? Okay. Good morning, Bless, and your able panelists. Instead of Baumia telling the youth of Ghana how to secure them litigation-free farmland and provide them agricultural inputs and incentives to go into farming, which is the hallmark of every economy. He's talking about phone. Please, is our vice president serious at all? If our leaders thinking are too low like that, how can we move forward? Our youth need a sustainable job, not mobile phones. From Kojo in Teshi. Thank you, Kojo. And also special greetings to Rita Alomaso, doing the watching from East Legon. Good morning, Rita. I trust you are in excellent health. Good morning, Bless. Voting for Baumia is suicidal. I am Mohammed from Wa. Thank you, Mohammed. Good morning to the people of Wa. All of you watching, we are extremely grateful for your time. Good morning, Bless. Which factory on this earth will just suffer to produce mobile phone and give to people for them to be paying 1 cedi a month, knowing that the company have to pay workers, tax, raw materials, repair machines, and so on? Tom from Aplao sent this one. I've been notified that we are well over time, so I'll just do 2 more messages, then we call it a day. The narrative must be that the prices we pay for democracy in the African sense. Okay, that's the price we pay for democracy in the African sense. Okay, thank you so much. This question goes to the NPP. Which is better? Is it the one who got power democratically to stay in power for only 4 years to build, or the one who used lawlessness and violence to stay in power for 8 years to destroy what others have built? Asanko from Santa Maria. Our time is up. Thank you so much for your time, all of you who watched us across the social media platforms, especially on Facebook and on YouTube where we stream live. We are extremely thankful for your time. Those of you who watched us in the other African countries via satellite, thank you so much. And those of you who watched in some parts of Europe and South America, we are extremely grateful. To my studio guest, Solomon Owusu of the Movement for Change, Mensa Thompson of ASEPA, and of course, Dr. Michael Ni Yaboy Anan of the National Democratic Congress. Thank you so much for doing this with me. And it's actually, I think it's about my 3rd time on Alhaji, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. Despite the fact that it's a bit lengthier than the morning show, I have enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you for your time. I'll catch you on Monday on the morning show. But would head straight to Tamale. We'll be bringing you a live feed of the campaign launch of the National Democratic Congress. So make sure if you are in Accra, and of course you are not in Tamale and you can't go to Tamale, we have a wonderful alternative for you. Tune into Pan African Television. We're bringing you live updates of everything that transpires in Tamale. Do have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer. He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom.